What's up everyone, welcome back here at the Neon Pavilion. My name is Niklas and now we are finally in the 2023 Junior Eurovision season. I say that of course because this week it was finally known which 16 countries will be participating in this year's Junior Eurovision. We say welcome back to Germany and a big hello to Estonia making their debut this year, but that's not really what this video is about, because another thing that we got released this week was that we finally have the logo and the graphics of this year's show. We already had the Slogan Heroes, we got that a few months back, but now we finally know what the graphics will look like for the contest in Nice in France later this year. And like it's become a bit of tradition on this channel, I will be talking a little bit about these graphics, what I think about it, what I like, maybe what I dislike, and I will also be talking a little bit about the slogan. For those who haven't seen the graphics this year yet, it features these like chalk/paint splashes in all different colors, and then a big 3D sign where it says Heroes, the slogan for this year's competition. The splashes of color definitely seem to be the main thing when you look at this logo. And I do like that part. I love that we have some different colors than the ones that we're used to. It has these splashes of this like teal color, we have some yellow, we have some orange. Some of these colors that we don't really see that often in Eurovision. It's a lot of blues and purples and pinks and stuff like that. So it's always nice to see different colors, and it's nice just in general to see something that looks different. I feel like for many years there's been a sort of style at the Junior Eurovision that you kind of go for, and it does make a lot of sense. You know, when you are a broadcaster who maybe aren't used to producing shows like this, it is easy to go in and look at what have others succeeded with in the past, you know, take inspiration from like the typical look of the Junior Eurovision, look at that and think, how can I work upon that? We saw that last year, where I believe in the video last year I actually talked about that I thought that possibly the team behind the graphics from Poland in 2019 and 2020 could be behind the Armenian logo last year. That wasn't actually the case, but it looked very similar. It had a very similar style. The logo for this year, just like we had it with the Eiffel Tower Christmas tree logo last time France hosted, it feels very unique. It feels like, you know, they weren't just looking at what everyone else was doing. They wanted to create something that was truly unique. And I think that's one of the really cool things when you get one of the broadcasters who has maybe just a little bit more funding and just in general a little bit more experience with doing big shows like this, actually working on something like Junior Eurovision and Eurovision, because you get something that's a little bit more unique. And I think, you know, having the graphics that we had for the Eurovision in Liverpool earlier this year, which very much stood out from what we've seen in Eurovision in the past couple of years, and then we have this, which also stands out. I think it's really fun to see like this different approach that the Big Five are taking with the Eurovision graphics. You know, they want to go their own style. They, like I said, maybe are just a little bit more experienced in it, so they have some graphic designers in-house, or they have connections to graphic design firms who have done something like this before, who has their own style. And I just feel like it's a lot more creative when you really start from scratch and think, what kind of feeling do I want to create for this show? Because one of the things I feel like that makes Eurovision unique, and that makes Junior Eurovision unique as well, is the fact that you have a new look and feel every single year. You have a lot of shows where it's the same kind of look and feel every year, but one of the things that I love about the Eurovision is the fact that there are so many things that are done differently each year, and it's exciting to look at, especially for someone who's very into this kind of stuff. I also like that instead of going with an emblem, which is what we've seen in other years, where you have like the slogan, then you have the common logo where it says Junior Eurovision and the city, and then you have this weird emblem that's kind of the logo, but you also, sometimes it stands on its own, sometimes you have the common logo over it. Sometimes it feels a little bit that there isn't like that connection in it. This year, it really is the logo put out in front. And if you've seen some of these videos that I've made before, where I've talked about logos and slogans, one of the things I often talk about is that I feel like the slogans are just not necessary. I don't feel like we need to have them every single year. But this year, you know, they put it up there in the front. They make it the theme It's the thing you see, and there is a little bit of that like superhero style in it with the way that the letters are done. That just makes you feel, okay, so the theme is heroes. It is something that we're actually going to be using throughout the show. At least that's the vibes that I get from this. So with that, I think it just makes a lot of sense. And I like when they actually try to incorporate the slogan into something and give the slogan meaning. We'll get to the slogan in a second, but I feel like having it as like the main thing, the biggest thing you see when you look at the logo, it gives that a little bit more of a purpose. And while we're on the topic of some of the text, the absolute best thing about the logo this year, I feel like, is that we finally have the heart emblem on the logo. For all of the years that the Junior Eurovision has used the common Eurovision logo, it's always just been a V where it says Vision. It's never been that heart that's become such a unique part of the Eurovision branding. When you think of Eurovision branding, you think of the heart with the flag in it representing where we're going this year. And I think one of the reasons why we haven't really had it in Junior Eurovision in previous years is that there was a time where Junior Eurovision wasn't necessarily hosted by the winning country. And we saw this year with the graphics for Liverpool that from the perspective of the EBU, the flag and the logo, that's supposed to be the previous year's winner. In my opinion, I feel like the flag represents where we're actually going this year. And that's why I still to some extent feel like that the UK flag should have been somewhere in the Liverpool logo. But as we have seen in recent years that Junior Eurovision is more and more being hosted by the previous winning country, I feel like it made sense to finally get it up there. And it just makes it feel more like a Eurovision event. It makes the logo look more legit, look more real in a way, because you are so used to seeing that flag there. And it is such a big part of Eurovision culture. But, and there is a but, there are some cons to this logo as well. And one of the things I feel like is something that I've kind of noticed the more and more I look at it, because when I saw it for the first time, I was actually, I was pleasantly surprised. I was happy to see that it felt unique and it wasn't just a copy of something we've seen in other years. But the more I look at it, sadly, I feel like the logo just looks very generic. The logo with the splashes and the kind of superhero style logo, it almost gives it like this very generic corporate feel, and that's definitely not something you want from a kids song contest. It feels like it was one of those things where if you go on to FreePic or whatever it's called, one of those sites where you can get like free vector graphics if you just want to get a quick logo or you want to get some quick graphics. I feel like this is the sort of thing you could find on there. In fact, when I'm done filming this video, I'm probably gonna go in and see if I can find something that looks very similar to it, because I could imagine that there exists something like that. Now, luckily you don't get an exact lookalike just googling on FreePic something like powder explosion logo with text. But I mean, you get the idea, right? It's definitely something that's been tried before, and a lot of these do give off the same kind of vibe as the logo this year. But I think the worst part about just looking at this is the fact that I actually think a lot of these on this site is a lot better. Like, something like this is really cool. Do this with heroes. That would have been great. There are other ones that I quite enjoy. These are great color combinations. These looks cool. I prefer this over what we got at least. But maybe that's just me, I don't know. I did also find this on Adobe stock, by the way. Also very much in the similar kind of style. And that's a real shame, because it makes it look and feel like there wasn't a lot of thought put into it. And like I said, I do actually think a lot of thought has been put into this and actually trying to go with the whole heroes theme. But there's just something about it that feels very generic. And it also just feels a little bit old school, because I talked about in the Eurovision earlier this year in Liverpool that what I loved about the Liverpool graphics was the fact that it was this flat design, these popping colors that felt very modern. It felt like this was really a Eurovision in 2023, something where the graphic design actually looked like, you know, what the graphic design trends are around the industry. Like I always say in these videos, I do have a little bit of knowledge on graphic design. It is something that I'm interested in, so I do follow graphic design trends, and the whole look with the very flat design, that's definitely something that's been very popular in the past couple of years, and there was just something about it with the Liverpool graphics that felt so current. This Heroes logo, on the other hand, if you put this and put like 2013 under it, I would have believed it, because it feels like this is a bit dated. It feels like this could have been a logo 10 years ago or maybe 15 years ago. This very 3D look is not something that's that popular anymore. And you know, this is a kids song contest. It is a contest made for young people, and young people, they always have an idea of what they think is cool. And I just don't think this look and feel is something that especially the tweens and teens will find that cool. And finally, there's another blue background. I think I've said this in videos before. I'm tired of seeing blue backgrounds. We need something new. It doesn't have to be dark blue every single year. And I feel especially with the colors of the pink chalk splashes being so vibrant, you could have done something else for the background. It doesn't have to be the same blue that we have almost every single year, I feel like. It just makes you feel like, you know, that certain parts of the graphics will just look like every other year, because we're so used to seeing this dark blue color as the background, and it just seems too easy to always go with that, I feel like. But that's the logo. Before we go, let's also just talk a little bit about the slogan. Honestly, I think it's fine. I don't have a lot to say about the slogan, and that has become a theme, I feel like, for the past couple of videos where I've done talking about the graphics design, just because I feel like it takes a lot to really get a good, fun, and unique slogan. And I don't even know if you can call it a slogan, because it's just a word. At least we don't have the hashtag in front of it, just like we had with the hashtag together and hashtag discover and embrace. I don't even remember if there was a hashtag before embrace. I think there was, but that thing that Malta started in 2014, where they really tried to be cool and hip and down with the kids, where they tried to have a hashtag in front of everything so you could really use it for social media. At least they don't have that. I feel like hashtag heroes would just be just as bad. Like I said, if they really go with this theme and really tries to make the rest of the show this almost superhero theme, the heroes of tomorrow, the talents of tomorrow, then I get it, then I think it works. But the word on itself, heroes, it doesn't really say much. You know, you have to really make it part of the storytelling for it to work, especially when it's just one word that doesn't really say a lot. It's not a statement, it's not something that really makes you feel anything, so how they use it in the storytelling will be really crucial, I feel like, in terms of if this is a good slogan or not. But I've said it before and I'll say it again, I think we are around the time where these slogans doesn't really need to be there anymore. We've tried so many and we've used so many that we're running out of the good ones, and I get why they're doing it. It's all about social media engagement. You want something smart and quick that people can put at the end with a little hashtag. I get it. But my personal opinion is still that I think that slogans at Eurovision have become very pointless over the last couple of years. They don't really mean anything anymore, and at least if they don't mean anything, at least make it fun, like All Aboard. And I think that's actually a really great example as well, because All Aboard was really used in the storytelling of the contest, the Eurovision in Lisbon. If they can do the same with Heroes, then I think it's great. Then it might be one of those that we remember as a great one, but only time will tell. Those are my thoughts on the logo and slogan for this year's Junior Eurovision. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this Neon Pavilion video. I do hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like if you did, subscribe for more videos from me, and then I'll hopefully see you guys very soon. Take care.